Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear students, welcome to the unit third of the knowledge management system, and where we talk about the knowledge codification. Okay, we have seen so far what is knowledge, how to capture it, and now comes the time where we discuss about the codification. Okay, so this is the diagram which we discussed the last time also. This will get more clearer now. So, for example, you have knowledge, you want to capture it. Okay, you need to capture tools like programs, books, articles, experts. Okay, uh, there could be intelligence gathering, and we put that in a database. And once we are done with the knowledge capture, and we have seen a lot of methods also, like the Delphi method, the blackboarding, brainstorming, and many more things. And in nutshell, we got that knowledge. Okay, and now that tacit knowledge maybe, and now we want to do the knowledge codification. That's this step here. Okay, now how we codify is that we can have this is what we read now, like a decision tree, like the tables, decision tables, the frames, the maps, the rules, and many more things. Then after that we can test and deploy our knowledge management system. So we are here right now where we do the knowledge codification. Okay, so if we say in a general view, what is the knowledge codification? It's actually getting the right knowledge to the right people at the right time. Okay, this is the whole idea behind knowledge codification. That okay, you have in your organization you may have the knowledge, but where is it? But is it relevant to us? Is it how to access it? There could be a lot of questions. Okay, and by the codification, what we are trying to do is we are making this knowledge available to the right people who actually want that knowledge. Right people in the sense that I am asking for a particular knowledge, maybe I am getting something else. So I need to get exact knowledge, the with a precision. That means which is pertinent to my problem. Okay, because a company needs at a different point of time different knowledges, and where is that accessible? We want to make that accessible, that knowledge. So the right knowledge, that means which is relevant knowledge. Maybe I'm a sales guy and I need a sales detail and knowledge about it. I want to take some decision about the sales, but I am getting some knowledge of the production. So even the production knowledge is also a very important knowledge, but that's not relevant to me. So I want to have a right knowledge to the right people at the right time, because if it's not available at the right time, it will be of no use. Okay, this is the whole idea behind knowledge codification. So if we talk about now what is knowledge codification, right? Now, because it's an emerging trend now, knowledge management system are slowly succeeding in standardizing terminologies and meanings for the common users. Okay, so after we capture the knowledge, the basic thing what we do is it's organized, okay, and codified in a manner amenable for transfer and effective use. So the first thing what we do is we organize and represent knowledge. That's why we have like these decision trees or decision tables or frames or maps or knowledge maps or rules, okay, and so on. This is to organize and represent knowledge before it is assessed by the authorized personnel. This is the first thing we're going to do after the capture of the knowledge. You capture the knowledge, you organize it now. You create some data structure like thing where it is accessible in a much better way. That's why we say that organizing part is usually in the form of a decision tree, a decision table, or a frame or a map. There are many more things we see in this chapter. So this organizing of the knowledge in the decision trees or frames or decision tables or maps is what is called as a codification, in short, if I say. So after codification, the knowledge has to be, in some kind of a structure where it is accessible, explicit, and easy to access. So it is Let me draw it. So it is accessible. Okay, the first thing is accessible. It is explicit. There is no hidden stuff and all. It's quite understandable. It's easy. Okay, and it's easy to access, because right person, right time, right knowledge, this can only be if it is accessible. It is explicit, there's no hidden thing, and there's no complicated and stuff, and it's very easy peasy thing, and we can just access it within some repository. Okay, and it is easy to access. Obviously all these three things comes when we organize it in a much better way. Okay, if we talk in terms of the knowledge management view, if we have the knowledge management view, okay, then if we say what is knowledge codification in terms of knowledge management view, okay, what is it? It is converting tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge in a usable form, and for whom? For organizational members. Okay, but if it is an information system view, if you have an information system view, okay, if it's a knowledge management view, then it's going to be converting explicit to the from tacit to explicit. But if it is an information system view, then knowledge codification means converting undocumented to documented information, right? Because right now when you captured the knowledge, it was undocumented. Now you are documenting. It is the information system view, talking about knowledge codification, that you are documenting now this knowledge. Now if you talk regardless of any view, that's knowledge management view or information system view, if you take up regardless of any view, then codification is making corporate specific knowledge, that is your, if we put up here appearances and put up here the both tacit as well as the explicit, that means corporate specific knowledge. Okay, you are making it visible, accessible, and usable for decision making. So no matter what form and no matter what view you are telling that codification means that you are making corporate specific knowledge, that is the tacit knowledge or explicit knowledge, you are making it visible, you are making it accessible, and you are making it usable for right person at right time. For what? For making the right decision, right? Now we can have a tacit knowledge or an explicit knowledge. Okay, tacit knowledge is human expertise is identified and leveraged through the form that delivers the highest return. We know that it's very important. We can do that by the knowledge sharing events, organized directories, yellow pages, or there are other means where we can have that source of expertise. And explicit knowledge, you just simply need to organize that, categorize that, index that, and it can be accessed simply via the company's intranet or some other means to make it visible, like diskettes, like pen drives, or it has to be accessible and usable. Okay, so this is the overall diagram of this scenario. A businessman has to be like a chameleon, constantly adapt to the changing situation. This is what business demands. Okay, there are changes in market, changes in customer taste, preferences, turnover among company specialists and experts. There could be new development in technology. Okay, in codifying knowledge, the resulting knowledge base serves in a several important training and decision making areas. And those areas where we want to have this knowledge base serving is, the first thing is the diagnosis. In a diagnosis knowledge management system, like we have the medical diagnosis system. Okay, there we have the uh, symptoms of specific causal factors. Okay, we have the specific causal factors and we have the symptoms. So we can, depending upon the symptoms, we can tell what the disease is. Okay, so we build this into the system's knowledge base, like as an identifiable symptoms for telling us that specific causal factors. And we say, hey, these guys are the causal factors because we have these symptoms and the disease is this thing. So we have the diagnosis management systems. Now, how a diagnosis management system works is it starts by assuming that patient has a particular illness. Okay, we start with some illness. Then it reviews, it proceeds further and reviews the rules and the actions by asking the patient about the additional information, and we see the symptoms, and then we try to see that whether this illness is there because of these symptoms and what the patient is telling. If it cannot prove an illness exists on the base of the symptoms, then system takes up another possible illness and assumes illness and proceeds in the same fashion by checking the symptoms and by asking the questions. Okay, but in the next round, the previous responses by the patient, they are recorded so that we may not repeat the question. So we ask set of questions, they are recorded. We record those questions in a system, and then we first assume that the patient has this disease. Then after asking the questions and we see the symptoms, and we try to our system try to judge whether that disease occurs or not. Okay, and if that disease doesn't fit into the no symptoms and what the user has asked, those questions which has been asked are already recorded, and we the system chooses another disease and starts matching these symptoms and matching these rules, and eventually system diagnoses what exactly the disease is. Now, second system we have for the where we use this codification knowledge is the instruction and training. Okay, interpretation is different. I have to correct it first. Okay, let me cut it here. Okay, in instruction training, what do we do? Uh, the basic concept of this codified knowledge base is to promote training of junior, okay, or entry level personnel. How we train them? Because we have already captured the knowledge of senior employees, okay, and we train them on the base of that. And we have the explanatory capabilities, they display the reasoning. Okay, the system displays the reasoning behind the solution. So if some scenario is given and the instructor and the trainer actually asks the trainee to give the solution, and he just then the answer is given, that solution is like this, but not only the solution is given but also the reasons why this solution is actually going to work. uh, and basically the solution we got and the reasoning we got is taken actually caught, that tacit knowledge is caught while the knowledge captured from the senior or experts, and this is in the system, and this is given to the trainees as a reason why this solution is for this some say some scenario. Okay, also the system can have what if scenario, and enabling them by the exploration. You say the system poses a question like, what if this thing happen, what if this for example in the market, this the sales of this goes up, what if the petroleum goes short, and so on and so forth. So the system poses these what if else questions, and then puts up the scenario in front of the trainee, and trainee tries to see what is the best solution, and then system gives them the solution with the reasoning, and that reasoning is actually the tacit knowledge being captured previously, right, from the experts. Now, in the interpretation, which was missing a control V, this is the interpretation. Okay, we have the interpretive codified knowledge systems, which compare aspects of an operation to preset standards. Basically, they have the sensor data to infer the states of ongoing process or to describe a given situation. And much of the reasoning is coupled with confidence factor. Just say, well, what does it mean? It means, for example, if we have an automobile, for example, where we have the knowledge advisors. The knowledge advisors actually have what is knowledge advisor? For example, we have the aeroplane and or automobile or any car or something like that. Today we have the computers in the cars and all. Today, if water temperature is over 50% of max and oil pressure is less than 9, then there is 0.78 certainty that engine is low on oil. Now, if such thing happens, how we sense them? We sense using the sensors. The sensor senses the water pressure, okay, water temperature, and it senses the oil pressure, and it sees that there is a 0.78 certainty that engine oil is low. So in such cases, the system flashes a warning message, chuck engine oil. So you will have the flash on the dashboard of the car, which is telling you chuck engine oil, chuck engine oil, chuck engine oil. That message comes up, pops up there. So it is the interpretative codified knowledge systems that actually senses these things, and depending upon the internal rules based knowledge, okay, we have it depicts that whether the engine oil is low or not, or in the same way whether the oxygen in the aeroplane is low or not. Okay, so should we go for pumping more oxygen into the plane or not? So these automated devices work on the basis of some knowledge base, and that's what's called the interpretation systems, where we need them. Then the next system we need them is the planning and scheduling. Now, what is the planning and scheduling knowledge management system? A planning knowledge management system maps out an entire course of action, the full plan, okay, before any steps are taken. So you need to have a full plan, full detail, okay? So the system creates detailed list of sequential tasks necessary to achieve two or more specific goals. For example, we see the US Air Force operation in Afghanistan. It makes 5-day projection of the mission to be launched and materials to be used in reducing the enemy's military capability over a designated geographical area. Once the plan is complete, you put up the whole plan, you just chart out the whole system, whole plan. You don't do until you do not complete the whole plan. Then system refines itself step by step so that an optimal schedule when you are going to strike, okay, there should be the optimal schedule to strike, okay. And the system actually rejects any out of line approach that's not within the prescribed constraints. So you put up all the constraints, you plan it, okay, you map out an entire course of action. So you map out whole entire course of action. Not only that, you just refine that. Later on, you also refine that before the action, before any steps are taken. Then when you are done, then you have a proper plan, you have the optimal schedule, then and only then you can you put up the things into the action. And this again is not possible unless we do not have the knowledge repository to help us, okay. And the next thing we have is called the prediction, okay, predictive knowledge management system. Now, the last one is the predictive knowledge management system. What are we talking about now? It's inferring the likely outcome of a given situation and flashing a proper warning or suggestions for corrective actions. So predictive means like पेशेंट को ही करना, पहले ही बोलना कि भाई साहब ऐसे होने वाले, जैसे हरकेन्स है, हरकेन आने वाले हैं, okay. Now you estimate the damage of real estate, and you can predict the nature of hurricane by evaluating wind force and ocean and atmospheric conditions. You have wind force, you have the ocean conditions, you have the atmospheric conditions, all this data, and what we have, the intelligent data in our system that predicts that, bro, hurricane is gonna come, which is gonna do this much of damage. So better is you take the preemptive measures. You can't avoid the hurricane, but you can avoid the loss. That's these predictive systems work, okay. So in summary, we say why we need a codified knowledge. It is to address the areas where codified knowledge results in what? They result in efficient, productive, and value-added knowledge bases and knowledge applications. So it not only improves the organization's competitive advantages by reducing its dependencies on human experts, because human experts are very expensive. So now those knowledge bases can be at your if you are in a risk, they're gonna help you, okay. And not humans experts are inconsistent also, they are mortal, they can ditch you, they can go to the switch to the next company and all that. So overall, this knowledge base is gonna be where your company works in a productive, efficient, and value added manner, okay. And for that you need a codified knowledge. And this codified knowledge and the resulting knowledge base, we organize it in such a manner that they are closer to the human specialist. but they can't be, human specialist. They can't be, exactly replica of the human specialist, but they can be close to the human specialist, right? But if nothing, if it's a small company, at least the knowledge base can be used as a training ground for junior employees to go through that thought process of the seasoned specialist. Okay, your knowledge base acts like a seasoned specialist who throws out a great solution with the great reasons for that scenario. If we put up a scenario to the trainee, and we and that trainee want to think what could be the solution, and this knowledge base will give you the best uh, reason and best solution to that scenario, like a seasoned specialist. That is the thing. If nothing we can do, then we can do this, right? Now we need to keep this thing in mind, that knowledge codification is neither easy nor straightforward. Okay, there are a lot of things. That's what we call as the knowledge dimensions and bottlenecks. There are a lot of bottlenecks we have. Okay, because the recorded knowledge, the knowledge which is recorded, is difficult to assess, either because it is fragmented or poorly organized. If it's not organized properly, then it's not gonna be beneficial. So if it's not properly organized, people do not know where the knowledge resides. Okay, or recorded knowledge is difficult to access, or knowledge is not shared at all, or new knowledge diffusion too slow, because you're not getting it properly, it's not organized properly, or knowledge is not shared at all. Knowledge is not shared but hoarded. This has political implications, especially when the knowledge cuts across departments. Okay, because one department is not willing to give that knowledge to the other department, and so on. Okay, so there is a difficulty to know who has the knowledge content, so knowledge becomes automatically difficult to access. Or knowledge is not shared, and we don't know where the knowledge is, what's the location, what is the time. And these are the bottlenecks of the knowledge management system, and we want to, our knowledge codification is actually to make knowledge uh, organize it in a much better way, so that is accessible. Okay, it's not difficult to access. Okay, and it's shareable, it's easily shareable, and it's from form, its location, its time, it is exact and precise. Okay, so we say people do not know where the knowledge resides. That shouldn't be the case. People should exactly know where they can get that piece of knowledge. For example, you have a say for example, there is a you have every product has its call center, and the person who is on a call center answering a question is actually putting those questions which a customer poses to the system knowledge base, and knowledge base actually gives them the answers, the exact solutions, like an expert. So that is and that officer at the call exactly know where the knowledge you want to get from. This knowledge has to be from this part of the database, this knowledge has to be this part of not database, and because it's well, if at all, it's well organized. Okay, that's the job of the knowledge codification. So these are the pre-knowledge codification questions: that what organization goals will the codified knowledge serve? Why is the knowledge useful? Okay, how would one codify knowledge? So first we need to understand what part of the knowledge need to be codified. Okay, because to my company, what is relevant and what is not relevant, and why is the knowledge useful? Is it useful for me or not? And if it is useful, then and only then I can codify it. And then when I'm sure that what knowledge and which part of it and belongs to my company and my problem domain, then I need to know how to codify it. Okay, okay. So now there are many tools which we can use to codify. The first one is a knowledge map, decision tree, table, decision tree, frames, production rules, case-based reasoning, and all. Okay, we will see them one on one in our next video series. Okay, so this is the first video lecture on the knowledge codification, that we understand what is knowledge codification and why we do it, and which departments and for what systems we need to codify it, and why the heck we need to we want to codify it. We have seen all this in this video, and now we want to see all the tools which are required for the knowledge codification in further lectures. So see you next time. Until then, masala.